What's good? This is JVB representing SPD, and that is sportsperdiem.com. UFC 252 was last night, and of course it was the trilogy fight between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, and it was a really good fight. Not the storybook ending Daniel Cormier wanted, losing to Stipe by unanimous decision, and still UFC heavyweight champion of the world, and still the baddest man on the planet. And now we can say the greatest heavyweight in UFC history, tying Randy Couture for 6 title victories. Stipe's had a great career, man, and he is now the GOAT of the heavyweights, at least. But of course, you can't take anything away from Daniel Cormier. He's a future UFC Hall of Famer. He had a great career, He had a great amateur career. He was an Olympic wrestler, and then he went to Strikeforce. He won the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix. He came over to the UFC. He challenged for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. He eventually became the UFC Light Heavyweight Champion. And then he parlayed that into a super fight against Stipe the first time around. Knocked out Stipe in the first round, becoming a double champ. So shout out to Daniel Cormier. He was a great competitor, a great fighter, a great champion. But even more importantly, he's a great man. He's a great person. And he's a great father, So now he can embark on his other career, which is broadcasting. And he's a hell of a broadcaster. And we're going to see more of Daniel Cormier in the future. As for the fight, it was a really competitive fight. DC came out strong in that first round, especially towards the end of the round. And then Stipe came out and he returned the favor in the second round, damn near finishing DC at the end of the second round. DC was saved by the bell, but DC lived to see another round. Unfortunately for DC, that third round is where the fight took a complete turn. Towards the end of that third round, you see Stipe starting to press the action on DC. And then you see DC take a step back and he's stepping away and he's holding his eye. And he's complaining to Mark Goddard that he got poked in the eye. Then at the end of the third round, you see DC again telling Mark Goddard that he got poked in the eye. But Mark Goddard is saying, no, it wasn't a poke, it was a punch. Fortunately for all of us watching the fight, we got to see an immediate replay, and it was clear as day that it was an eye poke, and it was a really bad eye poke. In that post-fight interview, DC told Joe Rogan that once he got poked in the eye, he couldn't see anything. He was completely blind in that eye. Everything was black. He ended up going to the hospital after that, and it has been revealed that he does have a torn cornea, and that shit sounds nasty as hell. Any kind of eye injury, I don't care if it's minor or not, that shit just bugs me out. Fortunately for DC, the injury does not require surgery, so DC, heal up, and we'll see you soon commentating again for the UFC. But of course, after the finger poke, DC was obviously compromised, and Stipe took full advantage of that, winning the 4th round and winning the 5th round and retaining his UFC heavyweight championship. So now the question is, what does Stipe do? Stipe tied Randy Couture in victories in UFC heavyweight title fights. He may try to go one more fight. A couple of guys took to Twitter after the fight, one of those guys being Francis Ngannou, the other guy being John Jones. His Twitter finger's always tingling. But both guys came out and they basically said that they want that UFC heavyweight championship. If it's up to me, and it's not, but if it was up to me, obviously the guy next in line is Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou has been on fire. He's on a winning streak. He's been knocking out every guy in that winning streak in the first round. So I believe he is next in line for the title. Also, I just want to see how he fares the second time around against Stipe. The first time around, he had all the hype behind him. But in that title fight against Stipe, he was overwhelmed. He got tired. He couldn't defend any takedowns. And Stipe dominated him. So I like to see the second time around what Francis Ngannou brings to the table against Stipe. As far as John Jones is concerned, I wouldn't mind him just letting go the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, permanently moving up to the heavyweight division, and seeing how he fares up there. I'd love to see John Jones fight the winner of Stipe and Ngannou, or even fight Curtis Blades or Biggie Boy. I just want to see John Jones move up finally to the heavyweight division. But I believe the next guy in line for Stipe is Francis Ngannou. But it was a good fight last night. It was a competitive fight between Stipe and DC. And you see how close, how evenly matched these guys are. But this is going to go down as one of the greatest trilogies in UFC history. Unfortunately, Daniel Cormier didn't close the deal. He didn't have the storybook ending. But it's still a great career nonetheless. A future Hall of Famer. We tip our hat to Daniel Cormier on a great career. and now he can fully embark on his second career as a broadcaster for ESPN and the UFC. But I'm out. Like the video and share the video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take it easy. God bless. Peace.